Excellent. Well, good morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m., March 28th, and I'd like to call the 17th Annual General Meeting of British Columbia Golf to order. As President of British Columbia Golf, I'll act as the chair of this meeting, and with your approval, I shall ask Corey Wong to act as secretary of the meeting. Corey Wong has conducted the registration of those present at the meeting, either online or through proxy. The purpose of today's meeting is to complete the requirements as set out under the Societies Act so we can all get back to our families getting through these next few weeks, after which we can start the process of rebuilding. This will be a business meeting. In addition to myself, you'll hear from Finance Chair Greg Moody, Golf Canada President Charlie Beaulieu, Golf Canada CEO Lawrence Applebaum, and Nominations Chair Patrick Kelly. British Columbia CEO Chris Jonason and members of the board are on the call and will answer questions. In order to conduct this meeting in an orderly process, all participants are muted. Questions can be asked by typing into the chat window, and we thank everyone for their cooperation with that. I also thank everyone for picking up on this technology so quickly in order for us to still conduct this meeting. With that said, 2019 was a good year for British Columbia Golf, and we made a commitment to focus on women's golf, and with review of some presented analytics, we met that focus. Golf is in the fabric of every community in our province. We're growing and the future looked very good. Of course, today is an unprecedented time, but we're all in this together, everyone. And there's hope with collaboration and focus that we'll be stronger together tomorrow and be ready for what the future holds. I thank everyone for following the guidelines and recommendations of staying home, staying safe, and checking in with your family and loved ones. While we may be physically distancing from each other, I have to admit that my own personal experience is that with today's technology such as this, I'm more socially connected with my family through these times. And I encourage you to set up something like this to have those kind of Friday night date nights. Last night we had it with all my brothers and sister-in-laws, and it reminded us that we needed to do this more often, and this has connected us together for sure through these times. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. But with that said, I'd like the first notice calling this meeting of the members, the form of delegate registration, the form to nominate candidates for the position of directors at large, and the number of eligible delegates was sent via email on the 14th day of February 2020 to all voting members, all secretary treasurers of zones, and the directors of British Columbia Golf. The second notice calling this meeting of the members, the list of directors elected at Zone Committee, AGM, the list of nominees for directors at large, the list of registered delegates, a ballot for the election of directors at large in the form of proxy was sent by electronic mail on the 6th day of March 2020. Proof of such mailings has been duly filed by the Secretary of the meeting, and I direct that copy of the notices with proof of mailing be kept by the Secretary of the meeting with the records of this meeting. I'll now direct the Secretary of the meeting to read the notices calling this meeting unless I receive a motion of dispense with the reading of the notices which have been forwarded to each member entitled to receive notice.
I, Will Deschamps, move that the reading of the notices calling this meeting be dispensed with.
I, Patrick Kelly, second the motion.
All those in favor of the motion, please so signify by raising voting in the chat box. Contrary, if any.
Aye from me.
Corey has 25 proxies.
This is Dan Sabrin. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do in the chat box.
Type yes.
Okay.
Or you could type I, Dan, but try and spell it better than I did.
I think that's about it, can I?
I'm trying to get it on too. It's not working.
Thank you for everyone's patience. All new learnings.
I still can't get mine to come up.
Sheila,
There we saw it.
I see you there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
It looks to me, Michelle, like you have enough votes.
Okay, there is 36 proxies, I believe, that Corey said last. So I declare.
Corey has 25.
Okay. I declare the motion carried. Can we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I, Greg Moody, move that the agenda be approved as presented.
I, Sheila Van Gisbergen, second the motion.
Agenda approved. At the present time, British Columbia Golf has,
I'll get Corey to give you those numbers right now.
how many voting members?
There's 36 voting members, Michelle.
And how many delegates online at this time?
36 total delegates online, and we have 25 proxies.
Okay. At this present time, British Columbia Golf has 36 voting members. I'm advised by Corey Wong that there are 36 delegates online at the meeting and that the deadline to the submitting proxies, namely Friday, March 27th at 9 a.m., 25 proxies have been received. Therefore, a quorum of delegates is present for the meeting. Since a quorum is present, I declare the meeting to be duly called and properly constituted for the transaction of the business identified in the second notice calling the meeting. As an election is not necessary this year, the appointment of scrutineers is not required. I'll now direct the secretary of the meeting to read the minutes of the annual general meeting of the BCGA held on March 17th, 2018, unless I receive a motion to dispense with the reading of these minutes.
That should be March
Aye.
30th, 2019.
Yeah,
I'm very sorry that the script was not updated. Sorry. Excuse me.
I, Wilda Shaw, move that the reading of the minutes of the annual general meeting held on March 30th, 2019 be dispensed with.
I, Greg Moody, second the motion.
Declared. The nominating committee put forward 3 names, and as no other nominations were received, the following directors at large are therefore by acclamation declared elected. Diane Gustafs, 3 years, acclaimed. Joe Higgins, 3-year, acclaimed. And Michael Cook, 3-year, acclaimed. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 Board of Directors is myself, Michelle Collins, Patrick Kelly, Grace Huey, Michael Cook, Wilda Shab, David Lee Fay, Naomi Yamamoto, Shauna Wilton, Greg Moody, Joe Higgins, Cheyenne Gustave, Sheila Van Gisbergen. Sorry about that. At this time, I shall ask Greg Moody, Chair of the Finance and Risk Committee, to present the report of finances. Please type any questions in the chat box and we'll be there to answer.
Thank you, Michelle. British Columbia Golf's year end was September 30th. The association's financial results are audited annually by Baker Tilly. The 2019 statements were posted to the association website in conjunction with the first notice of meeting for the AGM and in accordance with our bylaws, have been available to club delegates and all members of the association since that time. Everything that we do as an association has a financial narrative. And 2019 was a pretty good news story. That's 2 years in a row. Total revenues were up this year. We put $1,775,000, up 5.2% over 2018. But on the other side, expenses were actually increased this year by $68K for a 4.3% increase. And as a result, we still ended up with an operating surplus of $126,000 compared to a surplus in 2018 of $115,000. Member equity now stands at $1,191,000. And I'd like to thank our CEO, Chris Jonason, for his commitment and dedication in overseeing the financial health of British Columbia Golf. At this time, I'd like to thank the members of the Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee, Grace Huey, David Lee Fay, David Atkinson, Wilda Schaub, and ex officio members Michelle Collins and Chris Jonason, our CEO, for all their efforts over the year. I would also like to acknowledge our Director of Finance and Administration, Andy Fung, and our membership manager, Corey Wong, who do an excellent job in managing the finances and of the membership of our association. And finally, I would like to thank all our facilities and our 55,000 members for your contribution to Golf Canada and British Columbia Golf. Only through your support can golf in British Columbia be healthy, as it is with opportunities for growth. And at this time, I'd be pleased to take your questions. Any questions? See, when you make money, you can't have any questions, right? Isn't that how that works, Chris?
Something like that.
No questions?
I have a question coming in chat, Greg.
Okay. Where will I see that? Okay. So Glenn is asking, will the zones continue to receive the grant? I guess that's a question that going forward, Krista, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the finance committee and the board have. It was approved as part of the budget for 2020. Having said that, given the current situation, the board is reevaluating our total budget, and unfortunately, at this point, I just cannot answer that question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, I will move that the finance report be accepted.
I, Patrick Kelly, second the motion.
All those in favor of the motion, please so signify by typing in the chat box.
Verbal aye from me.
Do you believe that's the majority, Chris?
I believe if you have Corey's vote, you have a majority.
Sorry, Chris, where can I find Corey's vote? I'm not seeing it coming up. Am I just waiting for that? Oh,
No,
yeah.
Corey has voted. She is,
Okay. I declare the motion carried. The next item of business is to reappoint the association auditors. All those in favor of the motion, please so signify by raising their voting cards. But Greg,
I would, Greg Moody would move that the accounting firm of Baker Tilly be appointed as auditors for the year 2020.
I will DeShaw second the motion.
all those in favor of the motion, please so signify by raising your voting cards or putting your, or saying yes or aye in the chat box.
Verbal aye from Pat.
Corey gives an aye as well. I forgot she does not have a microphone, so.
With Corey's aye, I declare the motion carried. Meaning we have majority. On behalf of the membership, the board wishes to recognize the many years of dedicated service to the association by Helen Steeves. This is the Distinguished Service Award. Today's not the time to celebrate her contribution, but it will be done appropriately in the near future. And next, we'd like to hear from some of our guests today. Before we hear from Golf Canada CEO, I'd like to welcome the President of Golf Canada, Charlie Beaulieu, to say a few words.
First of all, thank you, Michelle and Chris, for inviting us at Golf Canada to participate today at British Columbia Golf Association AGM. On behalf of Golf Canada Board of Directors, I want to reiterate our appreciation for the tremendous support that your organization brings to Golf Canada. The recent challenges that we faced at the end of February and now with the COVID-19 crisis are great examples of excellent collaboration between our organizations. We place great value in the relationship with you. Last summer in Victoria, I had the opportunity to meet with many of the board members at British Columbia Golf, staff and stakeholders of the game in your province. And I saw the desire for alignment between all of you. And it is important for the betterment of the game of golf in British Columbia to continue to communicate, to collaborate, especially during these unprecedented times in dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. By staying united and working all together, we are stronger to facing the challenges generated by this crisis. But I'm hopeful that we will recover from it and we will go back to our normal life in the very near future, and will give access to a safe environment to all golfers, not only in British Columbia, but in Canada. All the best, and I hope that you and your family stay safe through this difficult time, and we'll have the opportunity very soon to enjoy a healthy golf season. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Charlie. We really appreciate your words, and we know that we'll be a stronger Canada tomorrow together. And we really appreciate the support of all of our partners across Canada through this time. At this point, is Lawrence on the call? Not sure it's seen.
I am, Michelle.
Oh, excellent. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Lawrence Applebaum, the CEO of Golf Canada. Please type your questions into the chat box for either Lawrence, myself, or CEO Chris to answer any questions, but would like to hear a few words here from you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a real pleasure in amongst a very challenging time to gather with our great friends and partners at British Columbia Golf. And I want to reach out and say thank you for that invitation. You're joined not only by our president, Charlie Beaulieu, but our Vice President, Liz Hoffman, as well as Susan McKinnon, Dale Jackson, Patrick Kelly, as well as a former board member and very good friend to British Columbia Golf and Golf Canada, David Atkinson. I'd also like to make a special note that we're getting good at these conferences. We're getting good at these Zoom meetings. And for the first time, I've gotten to see Blair Armitage's face. And although he has finally figured out the technology to put a background on his screen, I know that's not a real palm tree in the back. Whereas I spy down to look at Joan Guthrie's image, and that looks like a real palm tree, actually. So I'm truly jealous to see that you've got real palm trees. To all of our friends at British Columbia Golf, I come to you in the midst of the greatest public health crisis in generations. We are thinking about those people individually affected by COVID-19, their families, our most vulnerable citizens, and the incredible healthcare workers who are facing this pandemic on the front lines. Golf Canada, along with our provincial association partners and the rest of the golf industry, are committed to fostering a safe sport environment. Now facing this global crisis together, that commitment includes the health and well-being of golfers as well as every Canadian in the communities that we live and play. I'd like to read a statement to you that was put out earlier this week by our NAGA Golf Association, the National Allied Golf Associations, which includes Golf Canada, the PGA of Canada, the National Golf Course Owners, the Canadian Society of Club Managers, and the Canadian Golf Superintendents Association, if you allow me to. We Are Golf, otherwise known as NAGA, are committed to ensuring the health and safety of our members, golfers, staff, volunteer, and industry stakeholders, as well as every Canadian in the communities where we live, work, and play. The COVID-19 crisis is unprecedented and difficult time for Canadians. We Are Golf fully supports the recommendations and guidelines of Health Canada, the World Health Organization, and regional health public experts to stop the community spread of the virus. As leaders in an industry that employs more than 300,000 Canadians and includes nearly 6 million golfers from coast to coast, our priority above all else is the health and safety of our people and our communities. Where governments have not mandated the temporary closure of golf courses, operators of those facilities should take every health and safety precaution. We Are Golf also advocates for the essential need for golf course property maintenance during any of the temporary closures to be ready for operation while taking every health and safety precaution. We look forward to better and healthier days when the time is right for Canadians to return to recreational normalcy. Clubs and courses will be ready to welcome golfers back to the tee. In addition to this, I'd like to share some aspects that Golf Canada is taking during this time. We are continuing to evaluate our business on not only a weekly or daily operation, but on an hourly operation. Our staff have been implemented with a work from home policy since March 12th. And will continue to be until further notice. We have a task force that gathers every 48 hours, reviewing the latest updates from federal, provincial, city, and municipal governments. You may know that we suspended our operations at Bear Mountain in Victoria and have sent all of our students and coaches and trainers home to be with their families. We have followed government advisories and suspended all travel for our employees, not only first on an international basis, then a national, and obviously now local basis. Cost controls and risk mitigation protocols have been acted, and we've been working on a round-the-clock basis to ensure our survival during this time. Golf courses, amongst all of our partners are next to feel the most significant impact with tournament cancellations and spending reductions, staffing, maintenance, and business interruption. This is a turbulent moment for all of us, and we need to be committed to doing what we can as support for all of our partners. When the time is right for Canadians to return to recreational normalcy, I strongly believe that golf will be positioned to emerge and thrive. With much talked about attributes like social distancing, mental health awareness, large space, we know that when recovery comes, courses will be ready to welcome golfers back to the tee. For now, let's commit to be able to control what we can to take every precaution and ensuring our safety. We are aligned with all of our 10 provinces. We have alignment from our NAGA committees, and we are aligned with you, British Columbia. You've taken some very important steps to ensuring the safety. And I would like to end with 2 notes for you, which align very much together. First, that your number one listed mission for British Columbia Golf, the value that you list is ethical practices. Amongst purposeful, inclusive, respectful, responsive, and collaborative. And I finished that on collaborative. Let's continue to collaborate at a very high level together for our continued work and mission. And then last, I'll pivot to an exceptional moment that, as Michelle quite rightly said with regards to Distinguished Service Awards, we'll celebrate this as well at the right time. But British Columbia received the inaugural Delivering on Diversity Award by the province of British Columbia. And in Chris's words, to think that a sport like golf could be honored with this type of award is truly historic, and everyone in British Columbia should be proud. In closing, I'll just mention this. It's an honor to be part of the golf community. It's an honor to work with you as a provincial association of leaders, and we look forward to more times and happier times ahead. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Michelle, and the board.
Thank you so much, Lawrence, for those words. It's definitely a time for us to come together. You know, I echo and I appreciate for all that we're experiencing. I've been 7 days in the Emergency Operations Center at the City of Vancouver, and what our governments are doing to support our people is essential. With my colleagues at both the Park Board and City Hall, we're doing everything possible. And I would like to give a light of hope as to how golf is supporting this opportunity, and what we've been able to do as well. Our operations of our public courses are closed down. We have opened safely and with the protocols, the kitchens. And the kitchens are now supporting our downtown east side food security challenges. And so we've been able to convert those facilities over to be able to provide the needed individual packaged food items that are going to be necessary for some of our shelters in order for them to receive food. So they are part of the solution, and I definitely see this being a best practice moving forward. But I applaud our colleagues and our staff who were able to respond that way and utilize these facilities of which golf has. And so there is a light of hope. There is the curve that's, you know, coming here, hopefully a little softer, and being able to support those in need. And right now, this is the right action for the golf community to be ready for tomorrow. So I appreciate all those groups coming together and supporting this initiative as we stay safe. With that said, I'd like to open up here to understand if there's any other business to bring before the meeting.
You can unmute yourself if you'd like to say something as well.
Any comments coming from the floor?
Hi, it's Loretta, and I just want to applaud what Golf British Columbia is doing and Golf Canada. I just feel so proud, and I love golf, and I now love all the boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your words. And Barry, I'm reading your notes here on the side, and it's been an honor to work with you also on the board for so many years. And we hope to definitely connect with you and see you on the field of play again.
Michelle, I also see Jolly is online.
Excellent. Jolly.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Michelle. Finally got to see everyone together here on the Zoom. So I couldn't be earlier join any meeting due to my health issues, as I mostly updated Chris at the last meeting we had. So it's getting better. So it's nice to see, you know, the things are getting done by BC Golf and Golf Canada, and also through a lot of communities. We are also involved in a community distribution food packages to the needies who can't get out through our religious thing and through our associations also. And this is the time where we have to work together, and hopefully we'll see things getting better soon.
Thank you so much, Jolly. We really appreciate all that you've provided us, and you know, we're here for anything, and we support you on your health. And thank you so much for your dedicated time to the association and for your commitment to your community also. It's been really great working, and I know we'll be talking soon.
Thank you.
And definitely would also like to echo, I can see Joan here in her comments. Yes, for sure, the lead and when the time is right, we will need it most when to bring the community together to celebrate, you know, all those that have supported golf before and all those that are going to help us get through this time. But I definitely echo, you know, Helen Steves and everything that she has done, you know, being a representative on our board. And when the time is right, we will definitely highlight that distinguished award, and wanted to make sure that that is front of mind as we come through this recovery period. Thank you for your comments, Joan.
Michelle, Doug Gosso, may I make a comment?
You sure can.
For the association, well, both associations, BC and Golf Canada, I just hope that speaking optimistically, as this pandemic starts to wane and we start to get back to the business of golf, I hope that we can message through the association and not through the local associations, and not necessarily all of Canada. As we saw, the reaction to Mr. Applebaum's statement last week sent shockwaves. I know in our own case, employee reaction was immediate and caught us all a bit off guard. And I think as courses are able to and make the decision to reopen, we have to understand that that may not be the same throughout Canada.
Yes, we hear you. We'll definitely take it under advisement, and we'll work with the board to understand that communications plan moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks.
Michelle, I'm also I'll just I want to make sure that Doug knows that that feedback is being heard loud and clear. And, you know, our intention is looking forward and being prepared for when the opportunity to do that is on us. And we're working very hard to have the right plans in place and to be able to do that. And you will see, you know, we're going to continue to communicate, and we're going to continue collaboratively to make sure. And it will be, you are right in that it will be a different message in different locations amongst the entire country. Right now, you're probably aware that some provinces have enacted full non-essential services closures and others have not. And we've got to allow the governments to put those, allow them to speak first and to put those proper closures in place. So your feedback is heard, Doug.
Thank you for that.
Well, excellent, everyone. I really appreciate your time this morning. You know, with that said, you know, we want to make sure everyone's safe. I really appreciate your time here and adaptation to Zoom group chat and the process to make this as smoothly as possible. So thank you very much. As there's no further business to be brought before the meeting, may I ask for a motion to terminate the meeting?
Greg Moody, I'll move we terminate the meeting be adjourned.
I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.